Are you ready?
Agility from the champion. Oh, Jesus! That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
Good evening. This is episode 82. I am joined by Tommy. Tommy, how are you tonight?
Man, I am doing good. It's a Friday night.
And the mood is right.
The mood is right, man. We're right here. I took a quick little 10-minute power nap after Dynamite, and man, it took me out for a second. Or after Rampage. I don't even know what show we're talking about. It's been a good week, man. It's been a long week, but I'm glad to be here, man. Episode 82. We're getting ready for we got a noon pay-per-view tomorrow in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia.
WWE going after that blood money for the fourth year in a row now.
Yeah, man. It's I think for me, for my schedule, I think the 12 p.m. start is perfect. Am I interested in this show? Not really. Could care less. But man, we're excited. I'm excited. I know we're going to get to preview it and all that. We're going to do a quick little AEW Rampage talk.
That's right. My hair is all messy. I'm
always hooked, man. You know how it is. Send me in every time.
So for some of you guys that don't know and are watching right now, I know Dave is watching. I'm in a sling.
Yeah, so man. You got an update.
I tore my bicep about 3 weeks ago now, right at the end of January, as I was doing bicep curls, and I felt the pop, and I was like, "Uh-oh, this can't be good." I wasn't in pain, but I'm like, "Oh, this cannot be good." So I had to step away, put the weight down immediately. I went to the locker room, and I felt like swelling more on the arm where I popped my bicep. Then I compared it to my regular arm, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't good." So when you pop your bicep, especially from the top, your bicep sinks down because your tendons is what attaches your bicep. Your tendon attaches your bicep to your shoulder, and then your tendon attaches the bicep to your elbow in the lower part. Thankfully, I only tore my tendon over here, but I'm coming along. I'm moving a little bit. I'm doing pretty good. I got hand motion, wrist motion. Can probably pick up some light things or whatever. But everything's going good. I'm in physical therapy now. I'm off for a couple weeks.
Yeah, man. I know you were just kind of getting back into everything. So it's good to know that you're making good progress on the recovery.
Yeah,
I feel like it's been a minute since we've been able to talk about this. I don't know if I've even seen you in your sling fully.
Yeah, no, this is the first part of the reason why I think we took off last week was mostly because of the recovery process, and there really wasn't a whole lot going on in wrestling last week anyway.
Yeah.
I know the next couple of weeks will be busy a little bit, and then we'll have catch a little break, and then WrestleMania is our season. That's the time. But anyhow,
somebody at work almost convinced me to buy tickets. I'll tell you that much. I almost dropped a nice $3,000 on one of them travel packages.
Oh, never do travel package.
Really? Never do one?
For those of you guys that are listening, never do the travel package. I mean, listen, if you have that money I don't want to say throw away, but if you have that money to spend and you have a lot left money, a lot of other money elsewhere, great, do it. You guarantee yourself first, second, third row, be on camera, and what have you. But typically, even Dave can tell you, he's listening right now, we probably spend no more than $1,000, and that's with hotel, with food, with WrestleMania tickets, with airplane flight, and maybe a little extra money for a baseball ticket or NBA game. And we do so much more for what the travel package offers. So that's why I've never really bit on that, although I have thought about it myself. So, hey, calm down. Anyway,
as we know,
Wayne is doing the show.
In case everybody's wondering, Wayne's over there babysitting some dogs. We're both on dog watch duty tonight.
Hey, house sitting, dog sitting. God only knows what they're barking at. They probably want to go outside. So if I'm muting myself a lot, for those of you guys that are watching, that's why. Anyway,
I'll take it over.
Let's move along. And let's get our show started. Why don't
Yeah,
we?
man,
We
let's
have
do it.
Elimination Chamber preview that we're going to talk about here.
Sweet, man. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting pay-per-view. I think doing the Chamber in Saudi Arabia is you're guaranteeing eyes on this show, which I think is the thing that, WWE kind of struggles with these Saudi Arabia shows. A lot of them kind of seem almost non-essential. This last one that we had, I want to say back in October, November, was pretty damn good. It was, I really don't think there was a bad match on the card. I feel like overall it was a good show, and this one has the potential to, but as we've seen, a lot of these Saudi Arabia cards kind of seem stacked with stipulations or big headline matches, and they just do not deliver. Yeah, nothing important happens.
And it feels like a house show, right? Like a glorified house show.
I think that won't happen here. You get into Elimination Chambers. Obviously, this is the first time we're getting Brock in the chamber, which is good and bad, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But I have decent expectations for this show. I think it'll be fine. And like I said earlier, I think that a noon start is going to make it a little bit more digestible, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, the past couple of Saudi Arabia shows have been like on a Thursday, so this isn't bad. It's Saturday. It'll be done by 3:30 probably. Worst case scenario 4. I don't know if I see it going that long.
Yeah,
but it could, because these Elimination Chambers matches, and there's 2 of them now, usually go for about minimum of a half hour to 45 minutes.
Yep.
Depending on how long they want to stretch out the ending.
That also depends on how early Brock comes in.
Yeah. But before we get to the good stuff, really quick, we have Rey Mysterio versus The Miz in the one-on-one. These guys have been going at it for the past couple of weeks, and in the battle of one-upmanship, and Miz trying to cheat to get the win over Dominic Mysterio a couple times.
Yeah.
And, Ray's gotten one over on The Miz already. And, yeah, Dave, we'll talk about Brock winning the WWE title possibly. We have that comment there. But, yeah, Rey Mysterio and The Miz, I mean, in-ring, they've all been doing great work. I'm wondering, we've been talking about this for months, if they're going to escalate Dominic, maybe accidentally causing his dad, Ray, the match. You got to believe that Dominic's probably going to be at ringside. Maurice will probably be at ringside for The Miz. I'm wondering if they start the feud here, if that's possible that happens.
Yeah.
I feel like I have The Miz winning by pulling a fast one on Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, man. Honestly, that's funny. That's the exact way I see it going. I see a fast one from The Miz, kind of a fluke victory, and I see Dominic, getting involved in some way, accidentally costing, his dad the win, and we set up the WrestleMania match, like you said. Man, we've been talking about this forever, and I still feel like WrestleMania needs, some kind of, just any kind of story going into it. And I think that this is, one. And I mean, honestly, Rey Mysterio should be getting pushed to have some kind of marquee match at WrestleMania. And he's on the cover of the new game, for Christ's sakes. Like, you got to promote it at some point. So I think giving him that match with Dominic, giving him that big kind of, that's a match you can kind of put in the middle on either night and be okay with it. There's obviously a story there, and I'm sure they want to work together. I'm sure Ray wants to work with his son, and I think now the time is right. And after WrestleMania, you can kind of have Dominic, go off on his own or join in a tag team with another young guy, maybe like Austin Theory. But man, I really do think now is the time to do it. Miz is has been a pretty good part of the roster for the last few years, and I think that you can give him a quick little, heelish win, of course, and kind of move this story along and get him onto his WrestleMania feud, whoever that may be.
For sure. And then one of the other single matches that we have tomorrow night at Elimination Chamber is we got Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss.
Yep.
Although this matchup may not garnish interest, I mean, it doesn't, I'm not going to be exactly rushing to the TV to this paper to watch this match in particular. But last time Madcap Moss and Drew McIntyre faced each other, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was on a SmackDown or one of the recent pay-per-views.
He faced off at Rumble.
Madcap Moss 1-on-1 against Drew.
Yeah, I believe so. I thought that's how it works.
Okay, because I feel like it wasn't long ago. And let me tell you, they had a good match together. It was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah. Honestly, it didn't seem too out of place in that card. I think they were given 10, 12 minutes, and it worked, man. I don't know if Madcap Moss, has it. I know a lot of people in the
he can work. I'm just not too sure if his gimmick is getting old.
That's the thing is the suspenders and the the jokey jokester stuff that's not going to get over in this day and age. But I think that he's done well. I think Drew McIntyre is a good person to put him in a match with, and it just kind of makes sense for them to continue this feud here. But I'm also hoping. I mean, we know the outcome. Drew's going to get the win, unless if there's another fluke, which I don't think they would do. And hopefully it's a good 10-minute match. Nothing too crazy, and we just kind of move on into the next one. But I'm going McIntyre here. But I do think that Madcap Moss has been he's been doing better character work as of late.
I definitely think I gotta agree with you there, McIntyre for sure. But I'm expecting a good match out of these guys, believe it or not. Then we got the Usos defending the SmackDown titles versus the Viking Raiders. I do not see a title change here, although I expect a good match, but I don't expect a title change here. What do you think?
Give me a title change at Mania. Give me a title change in a multi-man match. Let me if that's. I know they like to do a ladder match or some kind of thing like that with multi teams and all that. But I think the Viking Raiders are the next team. Not right now. You don't make a. I mean, you could make a title change, but I think that's something that you could do either WrestleMania or Raw after Mania. But yeah, man, I agree with you. Usos in this one, I think it'll be a good match. I like the Usos, and I think that you can kind of get back into these, what is Roman Reigns calling them, the tribal chief trials or whatever. But I think you can get back into, splitting the Usos and kind of letting them do the, we saw Jimmy, or was it Jay? Honestly, I don't remember, have the singles run against Roman that I personally really enjoyed with that. Led to the Hell in a Cell match, but if you kind of start getting back into that would be great. So let's do that after Mania. But I got the Usos winning here and defending the title until at least Mania.
Then we got the Women Elimination Chamber. The winner of this chamber match will have the right to face Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. Or whomever the Raw Women's Champion is by then, but it should be Becky. We have Liv Morgan challenging Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair versus Doudrop versus Nikki Ash versus Alexa Bliss. The winner goes on to WrestleMania. So, that being said, we've seen Liv Morgan been on the cusp of just about breaking out, to win this title. She had a good 2-3 month run against Becky Lynch. It seems like that push may have been fizzled out a little bit, in my opinion. I'm not too sure. I mean, they sidetracked to Doudrop for Royal Rumble. Becky Lynch defeated Doudrop at Royal Rumble. I do not see Doudrop being the winner to face Becky Lynch at Mania. Now, another thing, another lady competing. We got Bianca Belair, whom they continue to tell the story from SummerSlam of when Bianca Belair lost her title from Becky Lynch within 20 seconds. So that's kind of in my opinion, an unfinished story there.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair hasn't gotten her payoff yet. So it could go that route. Nikki Ash, she's just there. She's basically talent enhancement at this point. Now, here's the interesting thing is Alexa Bliss is in this match too. Does she take the loss in her first match back? So we have a couple different options here. I mean, my favorites right off the bat, Rhea Ripley, no momentum, in my opinion, leading up to Elimination Chamber. We have Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, and Alexa Bliss. Those are my 3 top picks. I can maybe hopefully narrow it down within a few moments. But Tommy, what do you think?
Really, man? You don't even have Bianca in the top 3.
What did I say? Liv Morgan, Belair, and Alexa Bliss. Yeah.
Okay. I just don't see anybody winning that's not named Bianca. I mean, I get the, Alexa's coming back and we're kind of getting back into her, non-supernatural character. At least it seems a little bit, but this match just seems earmarked for Bianca to win. Like you said, they've been going on and on about, she lost in 26 seconds at SummerSlam to Becky. Like, she's got to get that chance back. It seems like we have the other women's match already figured out for WrestleMania in Rousey and Charlotte Flair. It just makes too much sense, man. Let's do Bianca. Let's do Becky. Get Bianca that win back at Mania. I still think that that's something that would go over well at Mania. And again, it's another good moment coming off of last year. But yeah, man, I don't see a situation where Bianca doesn't win here. Maybe Alexa Bliss, maybe, but I'm sticking with my guns. I've been a Bianca fan since the Rumble last year, and I think that her momentum going back into WrestleMania continues, and I think she gets the win here.
Yeah, I mean, Bianca is probably my favorite in all this. Although, and again, going back to last year, they can continue that story very easily, and I feel like the story pretty much writes itself at this point. So it's an easy story to tell. It's an easy booking option for them to do. It would make sense. It would also make sense is now they have another untold story with Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
And they did the whole vignettes in January. How she's been wanting to be a women's champion ever since she was a little girl, and she's fallen short now twice. So there's an untold story there, which leads me to believe Liv Morgan is a close second to Bianca Belair as far as a possibility of winning this match at Elimination Chamber. And the other thing I wanted to say is Alexa Bliss. Now that she's back, hey, come down. Now that she's back, does she take the loss in her first match? Alexa Bliss is probably the most trusted out of all 6 competitors to be put in a spot like this. Yeah, I know. You agree, right?
Yeah, he agrees.
He agrees. So, I mean, Alexa Bliss is a very, very trusted. Now we got the bird going in the background. This is like a zoo over here.
Hey, man, everybody's really agreeing with your picks, though. So that's a good thing, though, right?
So you could state a case for Alexa Bliss to be in there, too, because she would be a reliable pick at this point for to go on to face Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pieces here, and I think that, like you said, there's a lot of unfinished business. Liv has been kind of floundering, it seems, ever since she got her title match, but it still seems like WWE wants her to be a big key piece. Rhea Ripley, where the hell has Rhea Ripley been? It just seems like she's kind of there.
She just needs more momentum, and with Nikki
Yeah.
Ash, I'm not too sure if that did Rhea Ripley any favors.
No, I agree with you. And again, even for her, Nikki Ash, I mean, come on, like let's not act like Nikki Ash like was a needle mover or something. She might have sold a few T-shirts here, but she wasn't getting over. Like she wasn't going to be just jump in and be the longest reigning women's champion or something with that gimmick. Like let's just be honest here. Alexa Bliss, she's finally going back to not being, so supernatural and having a little bit of that fiend character in her. Hopefully, at least it seems. There's a lot of key parts here, and I think let's just talk about the fact that we're having a women's chamber match in Saudi Arabia. I mean, just last year it seemed like such a big thing for them to have. I can't remember who wrestled, but going back into October, there was a big the big women's match that they ended up having with Becky Lynch and maybe Doudrop. Don't quote me on that, but it's good to see the women get the chance. They're going to be in the chamber. They're going to get 30, 40 minutes. That's awesome. I'm really excited for them, and I hope it's good, but I just don't see any situation where
if any of you sick freaks are looking to see skin tomorrow's not the pay-per-view.
Tomorrow's not the day.
Be 100% covered up from neck to toe.
Really?
You'll be lucky if you see their hands.
Yeah.
That's just the rules over there. The women have to fully cover up. So in order for WWE to get these women matches in there, they have to be covered up from neck to toe. Well, and you know what? That does Lita a favor too. Her neck ain't looking so good.
Yeah.
It's a little old.
I mean, but that's the thing is credit to WWE, which is so crazy to say sometimes, but they've put us, given us two big high-profile women's matches. And, when they first started these Saudi shows, there was no women allowed on the cards at all. And now we're getting a chamber match and a women's title match that, while the outcome is kind of already decided, it's got some intrigue to it. So, no, seriously, I think that's great for WWE, and it's great for these women, too. It's awesome to see them, get a chance and be able to have what hopefully would amount to over, an hour of in-ring time, because I think they deserve it, especially if you're going all the way to Saudi Arabia. I mean, who wants to go to Saudi Arabia and have a 10-minute match?
Yeah, no, these girls are getting a half hour for sure. Let me see. We're going to get to that in a second. We have Bianca Belair. We have Becky Lynch defending her title against Lita. We'll get to that in a second. But for those of you guys that are watching, please, thank you so much for joining. Feel free to leave the comments and we'll address them as we go. This is your show too. This is episode 82 of the Aftermath Pro Wrestling Podcast, formerly known as the Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast. And man, Friday night, the mood is right.
The mood is right, man. I'm in a good mood.
Video.
Like I got my quick little nap. I got some new beer that I'm trying out, man. It's good. It's a good night.
Awesome. So make sure you guys are subscribed to this video. Even though this is another episode we're doing, this isn't going on the podcast tonight. It's not going to go on audio. It's only going to be available on YouTube. But moving on, we have Becky Lynch defending against Lita. Okay, so I like the star power here. Becky versus Lita, dream match for some people. It'll be interesting to see how Lita works.
A little too late, I think, but
yeah.
That also hinders on the fact that Becky didn't become big time backs or all that until that punch by Nia Jax.
I don't see Lita winning here.
No.
I see Becky retaining for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say. I mean, it'll be good to see two, from the old generation, Attitude Era, and then whatever era you want to call this. I like to call it the F the fans era because Vince McMahon doesn't care about his fans. We went from Attitude Era to the PG era to F the fans era. So we're in the F the fans era.
That's
so
honestly,
now we got.
I hope that's what they end up calling it because
that's a lot.
That
a lot
got
of
a good old smile out of me. Thank you.
So basically, that's two generations. It's basically Alita being on TV about 20 years ago.
This is a dream match.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Let's call it what it is. It's a dream match.
I got Becky Lynch winning here.
Yep.
I can't see it any other way. I don't know what you would do if Lita wins this. What do you think?
That's kind of the problem. I feel like there's way too many matches in WWE where it's just like we know the outcome. There's no way that Lita is winning this match. And yes, it would be a great fanfare moment. Yes, it would be a good nostalgia moment and all that. But like you said, what do you do with her if she's the champion? And I feel like that's kind of the thing that WWE struggles with, is that we have a bunch of these matches where it's just like you automatically go into it and you know there's no chance the other person wins. Granted, Lita has done I think will do great. I think she has done well in her time in the Royal Rumble in the years matches that she's been in over the last few years. But I mean, we're talking about a different beast here. You're not going in the Rumble and, just throwing people out, calling your spots. I mean, we're going to have a 10, 15-minute match, hopefully a little bit longer, because I think these two women deserve it. But it'll be interesting. Becky's going to win. It's going to be great to see Lita back. But, David, I know you said you don't want to see Becky Belair.
It's probably happening.
Honestly, I'm okay with that match. Only because I feel like
because of the story.
There was such a sour taste, and I will make this quick. But man, with watching SummerSlam and seeing her come out, and then as quick as the match was, it completely ruined the rest of the night for me. Like a lot of people. I hate quick matches like that. Especially I wasn't the biggest fan of Becky Lynch. I think her character work's been fantastic since, but for her to kind of just be shoved back into the, title picture and then win the title in 25 seconds. I mean, it never has rubbed me the right way with any match they've done that with, and especially not this one. But yeah, man, give me a Bianca, give me Becky at WrestleMania.
I mean, listen,
however, this should be a good 15, 20-minute match.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like we said, you could state a case for Liv Morgan to win this. We already talked about that, how there's no payoff there yet. That could be something a little later in the year.
These two women matches should get an hour, and I feel like it'd almost be a disservice if they don't.
It makes the most sense for Bianca Belair to probably come out with the W to go to WrestleMania against Becky. But like I said, I mean, you could state a case for those three women. Alexa Bliss, you could state a case for Bianca Belair winning. You could state a case for Liv Morgan. But storyline-wise, and Tom, I believe you're with me, it just makes the most sense for Bianca Belair to come out on top with the storytelling. Maybe you could somehow try to get Liv Morgan in there, because that could still make sense, with Liv Morgan. Maybe they could pull some shenanigans and then do a little storytelling with Liv Morgan to try to get it in to the WrestleMania match, like a triple threat, and that would be fantastic.
I love my multi-person matches.
But you just always been a fan. You just don't want to overdo it.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to the main event stuff here. We have Roman Reigns defending his Universal title against Bill Goldberg. Before I go any further, was reading. I forgot where it said it. Somebody tweeted it or online that something big or surprising could happen with a couple of one or two of the title matches tomorrow. I don't know what it is, but
yes, you do. You know exactly what it is.
Don't tell me we have Bill Goldberg winning tomorrow.
So, oh my gosh, it's Cody Rhodes.
You think Cody shows up at Saudi tomorrow?
Cody's coming to Saudi, man.
Oh,
he's gonna break the Tony Khan chair.
Oh my God,
we haven't been able to discuss.
We're gonna talk about that. We are gonna talk about that.
Oh man,
I don't know if Cody shows up at Saudi.
I'm telling you, man. Just wait till you hear that.
Unless Cody wants some of that blood money.
He wants the blood money, man. Hey, So you just gotta make money.
Sucked into that blood money for the next 5 years.
Hey, what did Dion say? I don't know if you're a fan of Dion, but Dion once said, you play good, they pay good, you look good, they pay good, all that crap. Like Cody wants the money, man. Sometimes you just need the money. You got to go out to Saudi and get it, and maybe he was getting a better deal from Vince than Tony. Maybe we'll see a little. Maybe he'll come out in polka dots, like his dad. That would be great.
I don't think Bayley at this point. I don't think Bayley comes back. Not to be in the title picture or anything at this point. I don't think Bayley comes back here. I'd have to see what the SmackDown title picture is really looking like, to be honest. Because Charlotte has had that belt for a little while now. Not long, but she's had it for a little while.
Yeah.
She's overdoing her stay, as always.
Oh, always.
But
Charlotte could never have that title ever again, and I'll be honest. Look, I don't have
she's got to take a couple of years off.
I don't have a personal problem with Charlotte. I'm just not a fan of her in-ring work as much as other people.
I don't mind her in-ring work. My problem is that they're inflating her numbers.
Of course. Especially now that Rick's left.
13 title reigns in 4 years? Come on. No.
And especially, like I said, especially now that Rick's left, she's breaking that record. But I'm just tired of seeing her, man. Oversaturation. That's been the WWE kind of theme for the last 15 years is oversaturating the superstars, and then to the point where people just start to hate them. And I hate to say this because I think she's better in the ring than, and no offense to him, but she's becoming this generation's John Cena. Like nobody wants to see her except for the diehard fans, and she's just always in your face, and I'm not a fan of that. It just doesn't. It's never really kind of connected with me. Her in-ring skills, like on the TV, but I do recognize that she's great in the ring. But yeah, man, if she didn't hold the title for 1 year, it would not bother me in the slightest.
But Vince always has to have a title.
Exactly.
Some kind of title program around her around this time of the year, always.
Yeah.
But
she's got to be close. She's got to be in the main event.
Yeah. Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey is happening, and mark my words, Charlotte's dropping that title at WrestleMania. That's happening.
Yep.
As long as Ronda Rousey, I know, yeah, I totally agree. Unless Ronda Rousey gets herself into trouble and heated backstage, but I see Ronda winning that belt from Charlotte. So hopefully, we won't have to do with that too much longer. So we got Roman Reigns defending the Universal title against Bill Goldberg. Roman Reigns comes out last week. I totally forgot to put SmackDown on tonight.
I got it on right now. Actually, funny enough.
But Roman Reigns says he's going to Goldberg. You know what? I mean, listen, that could very well happen. If WWE needs to speed up the show a lot, at least WWE told you through their storytelling that Roman Reigns
it's a prediction,
Goldberg and beat him in like 3 minutes.
Not a spoiler.
So
it's not a prediction; it's a spoiler.
I have a feeling. I don't know. Something weird is going to happen with this match.
Cody Rhodes.
It's not 15 minutes. I have a feeling Roman Reigns might win in like 3.
Oh, if this match goes longer than 10 minutes, I'd be surprised.
I have a feeling it's gonna be quick. Just because of the storyline with Roman Reigns calling his shot.
Man, who cares about this match? Like honestly, like this match a few years ago, it would have been great.
It was fine for a couple of years ago.
It's just like going into this the Brock match that we're gonna end up having at WrestleMania. Like, who cares? Like, we've seen it. We know what's gonna happen. Like, it's gonna be.
I'll welcome a Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match anytime. I feel that even though it's been done a few times already, I feel like it hasn't been overdone for me.
Yeah, no, I'm just tired. I mean, he's called Oldberg for a reason. Like, that's what my generation calls him. Like, I don't care. Like, I get it. It's for the money. Like, and they were
for Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia wants that marquee match.
Yeah,
that's why they're doing it.
And I understand it.
That's all it is.
it just, man, I can't do it. Like, if it were something, and this is just hypothetically speaking, if it were Omos versus Goldberg or something, like giving that Goldberg rub to a younger star, great. Goldberg in the WWE title picture at 54, whatever, however old he is and all that, it's just not believable, man. Like, he's either going to get killed, which is what's probably going to happen, is, they're going to fight for like a 5 minutes of just spears and punches and all that crap, and then that's going to be it, or he's going to win and be a transitional champion for a month. Like, there's just no story here. I've never been a fan of these Goldberg matches, just constantly being in the main event, and I get it, it is Saudi Arabia, they want that big match. Just doesn't work for me, man.
Yeah, I expect this a quick match. I don't expect Goldberg to win.
No.
I mean, it's clearly not the direction that they're going in, because the next match we're going to talk about is, and this is going to be really interesting here. We have Bobby Lashley defending his WWE title against Austin Theory, AJ Styles, Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, and Riddle.
What?
So,
What?
I mean, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, that's
What?
happening. Yeah, that's happening. Lesnar versus Reigns is absolutely happening. We know
At
it's gonna
WrestleMania?
happen. But
What?
will it? Yeah, right. Oh, we're gonna get to that too. But will
For
it
the
be?
WWE title? What?
Yeah. Will it be for the title?
Unified titles? What?
Sorry, I'm telling you, man, if you haven't seen Pat McAfee's interview with Brock Lesnar from this week, funny enough,
Oh, my
WWE
gosh.
was in my hometown in Indianapolis on Monday. And Brock Lesnar appeared on the Pat McAfee show. For all of our viewers, if Brock Lesnar has never interested you, please go and watch this, because Pat McAfee and Brock Lesnar, like, unfiltered, is probably the 50 greatest moments of my life. Brock Lesnar is the funniest I've ever seen him. He actually seems like a real human being. Obviously, you get Pat McAfee and all those guys, just shooting the shit. It is a great watch. I highly recommend it to anybody.
Was that your dog or my dog?
Yeah, it's my dog, man. Yeah.
Oh, it was yours that time.
Yeah. No, it's just one dog, man. It's somewhere.
Hey.
Your dog must have heard it.
I think our dogs are hearing your dogs. Anyway. Yeah, so do we get title for title?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like that's kind of the only way that they're going now. Is we're gonna get title for title. I mean, if not, who's eliminating Brock? Like, who's gonna take take him out of the match? Maybe we see Roman get involved, depending on card placement and everything. But I just don't see how it's not Brock who walks away here. Which I don't know. It almost seems like too easy to predict.
Let's just say Lashley retains.
I would love to see a triple
Who
threat.
does Lashley go against at WrestleMania?
Put it a triple threat.
But how do you get to that?
Good.
Because Lesnar gets his match either way.
Exactly. And Lashley
Roman.
retains.
But how do you build the storyline with Lashley wanting to get Roman Reigns at Mania? How do you get there?
I don't know, where maybe Roman spears them both and then puts Lashley over, Lashley's arm over Lesnar for the pin, and Lashley's like, I could have won it by myself, kind of thing.
Double pinfall?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you can get to that, and I just Sorry, I'm looking at Madcap
I'm,
Moss and Baron Corbin right now on Friday Night SmackDown.
I'm looking at I'm looking at the roster. I'm like, I don't know who you put against Lashley at Mania.
No,
I mean, unless you do like a Drew McIntyre crossover. Drew McIntyre and Lashley didn't have such a bad match last year. I guess it could be plausible to have him again.
I just feel like Lashley deserves to somehow be in a high-profile match at WrestleMania. I feel like he should be walking into WrestleMania as the champion. Will that happen? I don't know. However, Lashley deserves more, and I think he's done a really good job of him and McIntyre of kind of getting us through this COVID pandemic era, and now back into the having fans back in and everything. Their service is duly noted. I know that sounds stupid, but I strongly believe that Lashley should go into WrestleMania as a champion. I don't think that he will, though, because I just think that this match is, especially in Saudi, if this match was taking place anywhere else, I think we could have maybe seen Lashley. But in Saudi, I just don't see a way where Lesnar, eats the pin here.
Yeah. Listen, if Lesnar wins this match, which we assume he is, you got to believe that Reigns is going to beat Lesnar at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Unless Lesnar's willing to work a bunch of dates and show up on TV. I just don't know.
He's been active recently. He's been more active recently.
He's been a little more active recently. I'm not too sure if I'm convinced enough that he's going to show up on both Raw and SmackDown, or at least one of the shows every week.
Yeah.
You got to show up on at least one of their shows every week.
Yeah.
To hold that title if they're going to unify. Which I think they should unify the title, but you have to. People say, like, I was talking with Sean Ross Sapp, and he was saying that okay, so if you have Roman Reigns win a title, or you have somebody from Raw win the title unified, then who shows up on SmackDown? Who's going to be there? Who's going to watch the other show? Or Reigns wins the title, or the unified title, it wins both belts. Then who's going to show up on Raw? So then people aren't going to watch Raw, but they'll watch SmackDown, and so it's going to be to a point where Reigns is going to have to show up on at least one different show each week, or on both shows each week.
Yeah, I don't know. I know we've seen Lesnar a lot recently, but I don't think that he's gonna keep that schedule. I think he's gonna want to go up to back up to Saskatchewan and just kind of hide away until those big dates and
till
Mania,
close to SummerSlam.
Yeah, really. Like he'll do his little program here, go hide away, and be back at SummerSlam or be back at Survivor Series or whatever he ends up showing
Rumble,
up at.
The latest, yeah.
And we'll be back on the same thing, which is fine. I've gotten more into the whole Lesnar thing in the last probably year or so, and I think that I really do recommend this interview.
I'm gonna watch it, and McAfee's just awesome. He's killing it.
McAfee's so good. And those two put together, I mean, Brock Lesnar's doing Stone Cold impressions. He's breaking tables. He's telling funny stories. Like it's really worth it. But I think that interview kind of was that extra push of I really do like Brock Lesnar. He kind of came in right when I was getting into wrestling and everything. So he's always been a focal point of my wrestling fandom. But yeah, man, I think I'm okay with him doing his little, few matches here and there. It almost is, I think it's kind of ironic that I'm complaining about Goldberg and, praising Brock Lesnar, but there's also like a 15-year age gap between them, I think. So, and Brock Lesnar's, not human.
The worst Goldberg Lesnar match, WrestleMania 20.
WrestleMania 20, right in your hometown, man, right in your area.
That was hard to sit through. I was there, and I'm like, okay, when is this match going to start already?
Yeah, really.
BSing for the first 10 minutes without even a tie-up. WrestleMania 33 to an extent made up for that. That was a beautiful car wreck for 5 to 10 minutes. So it was cool.
Yeah.
It is what it was. But anyhow, yeah. I mean, I got Brock Lesnar. Like I said, I got Brock Lesnar winning tomorrow. But does he have to win? No, because he's gonna get his match against Reigns either way.
Regardless, yep.
My question is though, who do you, who? So how long does Reigns carry this belt for? If assuming that, hypothetically speaking, Reigns beats Lesnar again.
Correct.
Where do we go after that? Who's poised to beat Roman Reigns? I don't think anybody. I feel like they're gonna have to build up somebody from scratch because they buried so much of their own talent already.
Yeah.
Like a Braun Breaker, although he's nothing that special.
Yeah, honestly, again, this will sound stupid, but I mean, Cody Rhodes. I mean, who do you bring in?
I don't think you do it as a Stardust character.
No, of course
not.
not.
You gotta
no one
bring him
that.
back as the American Nightmare with the blonde hair, the same shtick.
I just think that, look, and I don't know if a lot of people are making, obviously this is going to be a big thing, but what makes it so important to me is like, look, like you're getting not one of the four, executive VPs, between the Young Bucks, Hangman, and him, or not Hangman, Kenny and himself. You're getting the VP. Like you're getting the guy who is kind of synonymous with starting AEW and accepting Dave Meltzer's challenge and doing All In. Like this is a big get. Like this is the first like fire back shot from WWE, which I think you got to live the Attitude Era, like you got to live through that. But for me, this is crazy, man. I've never seen anything like this in wrestling. Like I've only heard about stories like this. I mean, this is to the level of, at least in my opinion, Hall and Nash, showing up on WCW.
Oh yeah, and it was like, continuous. It was every week, every other week. It was like who from WWE is going to show up on WCW tonight and join the NWO. That's what it was in the late '90s. And WWE couldn't grab anybody. They grabbed Vader, but they couldn't really grab anybody because of the finances. WWE was struggling. They had just lost Bret Hart to WCW. So now you're at a point where you have to build your own stars. And thank God they did. They built up Stone Cold, The Rock. They really struck gold with that.
Yeah.
Big time. And if that doesn't happen, WWE is in
big trouble.
Big trouble. Yeah, WWE almost lost that.
And I think just the thing is like, like you said,
a lot of those WWE's people... the first shot fired, that I can recall, was Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit. The four of them showing up on WWE TV in one shot. So that was the big answer back.
But I mean, even smaller stuff like X-Pac showing back up, with the formation of DX after Mania 14. But like you said, a lot of those guys, WWE just couldn't get those stars to come over from WCW, and it just seems like AEW just every week AEW is poaching somebody from WWE. AEW is getting Jeff Hardy. They're getting Isaiah Swerve Scott or Keith Lee or CM Punk. Like of anybody, maybe not name value.
Oh, we gotta talk about that. AEW, not to mention, just basically just landed 3 guys in the last week.
Really? Yeah.
Keith Lee. Keith Lee, who's now going to be making a big run at that TBS title, or TNT title rather.
Yep.
And
he'll be in the Revolution ladder match. Yep.
Yeah, and you got Jay White. Jay White's making an impressive splash.
Hey man, I know people are big. Where the whole thing was Keith Lee that whole night, but let me tell you, man, when I saw Jay White, Tommy had a little nerd reaction right there. Switchblade is one of my favorites. If you need a good promo to watch, go watch his Wrestle Kingdom 2020 press conference after his match. Fantastic piece of heel work that man can do.
He's such a good heel. But yeah, so I'm not too sure if Cody if and when he does show up on WWE TV, if it's I'm not too sure if it's gonna be a full-time schedule right away.
No, I don't think it will be.
It might be a light part-time schedule because of like all the work that he's doing.
Big show on TBS and everything, or TNT.
He may just take some time off. We may not even see a Cody appearance until close to SummerSlam.
Yeah. And he just had a kid.
He's had a kid. He's got the Go Home Big Show, whatever that show is.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot going on.
I'm just trying to think of, okay, not saying he's going to win. However, that would be crazy. If we're talking about the AEW, executive VP winning the WWE title in, let's say 6 months after leaving the company, that's insane. I don't think that happens. I just, like you said, like, how do you it still seems like we're going to be, Rock Reigns at WrestleMania next year. And
I'm already preparing for that.
Yeah, and even The Rock is kind of teasing it. He tweeted out, you'll see The Rock here soon or something. That's just what's gonna happen. It makes the most sense.
We gotta hang out with Chris Van Vliet.
Yes,
we owe him a couple drinks.
Yes, we do. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna have to save up like a year worth of savings
really
just to buy him
get out
drink.
to Hollywood. Yeah, really.
Oh man.
No, but who do you have? Like, is Reigns really gonna carry that title for 2.5 years?
I honestly, at this point, they got to build up a new star.
Yeah, I mean, you
could always like how much can you possibly keep going the Lesnar back to Reigns, and Lesnar to Reigns,
and I know that sounds stupid, but really, like, you've taken out Cena, you've taken out Lesnar, presumably Goldberg. I mean, is there anybody else that's a big name that's not Cody Rhodes? That's you could just be like, oh, here you go, here's a big star we don't need to build up. Like, I know this just happened and he hasn't even signed yet and all that stuff, but I mean, Cody Rhodes is really the next biggest name that they haven't done the match already. That's just how I see it.
Yeah. I mean, I think Cody, like I said, I think Cody comes around SummerSlam. I mean, maybe you could have him as a surprise entrant at the Royal Rumble next year. But at that point, that's a little too long from now. That's like 11 months from now.
That's a bit of a wait.
I think Cody's going to do I would be surprised if Cody does a couple of indie matches to make some money here and there and kind of just figure out the next couple months. I'm pretty sure WWE's already offered him a pretty lucrative contract.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, man. Big old deal.
So, I mean, we could, be on the lookout. I mean, this Monday is the official Elimination Chamber is the last stop pay-per-view wise before WrestleMania.
Hey, man, you never know. He could show up tomorrow.
Monday, tomorrow. And like I said, I'm not expecting tomorrow, but I would be surprised.
Hey, if you want people talking about your show, I mean, that's definitely something that there's intrigue.
I mean, actually, as a podcast, I think we would want him to show up tomorrow because people are going to want to hear what we have to say about it.
I think this is the first time that there is. It always seems like we're like, oh, gotta watch AEW. There's this big surprise kind of thing. Like, who's coming out
every week?
And it almost seems like I'm actually excited. Like I'm quite excited to see how this shows up. We let's just be honest here. It's not a foregone conclusion that he's going to WWE until he shows up in WWE. Like, it would be great to see him there, but until it happens, it's not happened. And the fact that we're even talking about this, I just think, as a wrestling fan, just gets me so excited because, like, really, this is we've seen AEW, in that WCW role of shots fired, just constantly, winning the ratings war and having NXT move and then end up changing and then bringing all these guys out of retirement and these big names. And, like, again, outside of getting Hangman, the AEW champion, I really do think that Cody Rhodes is the next biggest name that you could get that's almost synonymous with AEW. So if they pull that off, man, we really might be seeing a wrestling renaissance here, which is just awesome. Like as a wrestling fan, it just makes me so excited.
I would like to see Cody Rhodes do like a short-term contract just to kind of play into the Forbidden Door gimmick, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's pretty much everything that we got for episode 82 here. In other news, Cody, that was the big news. Undertaker is going to be in the Hall of Fame, which is no surprise. It's in Dallas, Texas.
It's in Texas, yep.
State. So no surprise there. Undertaker's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. It kind of sucks that I'm not going this year. I mean, anything can still change.
Who do you think inducts him? Do you think we get a McMahon induction? I feel like if there was one person to do a Vince McMahon induction, it's the Undertaker.
To induct Vince McMahon or Vince McMahon
the other way around. Like for Vince McMahon to induct somebody.
I think Kane is going to induct the Undertaker.
But I just feel like that's just such a cop-out answer. Like
it could. Hey, listen.
Yes, I agree with you. I think it will be.
It's got to be one of his rivalries. It could be Mick Foley.
Yeah,
it could be.
But don't you think if there's anybody that Vince McMahon would come out and do a Hall of Fame like introduction for, it's got to be Taker. I mean, it has to be. I don't know. It's great that he's getting recognized. WrestleMania is shaping up to be a.
It could be. I mean, Vince McMahon, Undertaker is one of Vince McMahon's longest, reliable, faithful, loyal talents to that company that he's probably ever had.
Yeah, man. I mean, WrestleMania is shaping up to be an interesting show with all the rumors that are going around. Yeah, and obviously we won't address those until it gets a little closer. But this year's WrestleMania seems like it's going to be a little interesting one.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, anyway, that pretty much wraps up episode 82. For those of you guys that are watching, make sure you are subscribed.
Yeah.
We'll be back up on iTunes with hopefully within the next week or two. But in the meantime, our episodes will be on YouTube. Make sure you tell your friends to subscribe. This is WrestleMania season.
Man, it's our favorite time of the year.
Tomorrow's Elimination Chamber, 12 p.m. start time. We will be back here right after Elimination Chamber with an aftermath post show.
Yes, sir.
And that pretty much wraps up episode 82. Tommy, do you have anything else for us?
No, man. I'm excited for Chamber tomorrow. It's going to be hopefully a good show. It's at least a nice start time for me. So, yeah, man. I'm excited to see what happens and get back on here and talk about it.
Those of you guys that are watching, make sure you share this with your friends before Elimination Chamber starts tomorrow to hear our predictions. And we will see you guys all tomorrow immediately following Elimination Chamber.
You know it.
Catch you guys later.
From the champion. James 6! That could be it. Delivers this